Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being a part of our 9th virtual event organized by Women Who Test Bangalore chapter. And I'm Shruti, the chapter leader for WWT, and it will be the host for the day. Women Who Test is an initiative to improve the diversity in the testing and tech world. It aims to equip testers with the power of knowledge. Talking about Trigent, it's a 25-year-old technology company that enables business to embrace their digital future. It helps clients overcome their limits by leveraging the technology. We are happy to share that Trigent recently won the Best Agile Project at the prestigious North American Software Testing Awards. Talking about the topic for today, uh, in this webinar, we'll discuss about how to strike the balance between defining the boundaries around us and breaking free. Where do we draw our lines of being and feeling safe? Where and how do we cross it to be ready to shake and comfort zones? So have we ever, applied the practices of testing in our lives? Generally, before we jump into water, do we even test that? Yes, it's very necessary to test it. It allows to reveal our risk-taking abilities. Today we have Nandini Rao, who is a TED speaker and award-winning artistic director of UR's Youth Lead Theatre and Life Unscripted. She's planning for an interactive and fun-filled session. So we welcome you for WWT community, Nandini.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shruti, for the introduction. And thank you, Trajan, for hosting this very, very interesting webinar, Connect Point. I think this is really interesting and exciting.
Yeah. So as I said, this is going to be an interactive session. So I would request all the attendees to participate with an enthu. So towards your right, I mean, in the dashboard, you will be seeing your questionnaires option as well as your chat. So whenever the speaker asks the question, you can use your chat option, or either you can use your questionnaire section to give out your answers, and we'll be running a poll in between as well. So kindly request you to participate in the poll as well. So yeah, without further ado, I'll hand over to Nandini.
Great. Thanks a lot, Shruti, for the introduction. And I almost see 39 people already on the platform. So I'll take this opportunity to extend a very warm welcome to everyone who has joined. I know it's a lunchtime and not the most active time of the day, especially if you already had your lunch. So I think that increases my responsibility to not just ensure that we don't sleep, but we also stay active through the session. So to start with, first announcement: this is going to be a zero PPT session. So no slides, no PPTs. So that's really the specialization that I like to ensure that we do zero PPT session. Even if we are doing a 2-day training program, we ensure that the session is actually driven by the participants, and sometimes we bring in our actors, so our actors replace the PPTs. That's really how we work. So of course we don't have a lot of time today, but let's see what we can do within this time of around 45 minutes or so, what we have together. Let's see what best we can make out of it. Yeah. So let's just warm up a little bit. I know we have some interactive options here. One is raise of hand. So I would like to ask all of you, that people who are feeling very active right now, raise your hands on your chat. I think there's an option to raise your hands, so you can use that. And so I just know that you're all there, so we get a little feel of how are you all feeling, who is feeling how, and from there we can take it forward. So I think you should be able to see like a raise of hand. So just see if you can raise hands, if that's possible. Okay. Yes, Madhav has raised his hand. We've got one. Oh, a lot of Sumit has raised his hand. I can see Vimal has raised his hand. Sri Vidya, Kanti Joshi has raised her hand. Chandrika has raised her hand. So okay, we have got already good raise of hands. Chandan has raised his hand. Divakar has raised his hand. Savita, Mahalakshmi, Surya, Harsha, okay, thank God. Okay, good to know that there are people who are feeling active. And it's okay if you're not feeling active. I completely understand. You can be. It's okay. You're not forced to raise your hands even if you're not feeling. I think staying honest in this moment is the best thing we can do. So that's fine. For people who have not raised your hands, it's my responsibility that by the end of today's session, I hope I get raise of hands from all of you. So I'll target towards that. So with that, let me just get started. So we have designed this session keeping in mind a couple of things. One is, of course, I do understand that this forum is kind of curated for testers. So I've kind of kept that as my core idea. So I hope there would be something we can take back from the session, especially if you're a tester. If you're not a tester, I hope still there'll be something for you to take back. Because you are in the world of software and IT. So I hope you can take something back, some food for thought, some disruption maybe. So I hope that's we can go back with. The next one is I don't think I have answers in this session. That means I don't have gyan to share. I don't have great things to tell you which probably will change your life very differently, but I do hope that I'm able to raise few questions today for all of us as community of testers and others who have joined us, and hopefully we can go back with some questions, and these are the questions I hope you can speak to each other after the session and have more interactions with them. So my job today, I would see it as raising questions than really finding answers, because I think I'm sure you will all find answers through the days, weeks, and months, and maybe years. So that's really my idea. Okay, so the way the session is divided is I have few fun stuff which we'll start off with. These are we'll do it as a poll. These are this is nothing to do with how satisfied you are or ESAT questions or all these usual questions which you're bombarded with. These are none of them. So this we have put set of around 10 questions which are supposed to be fun. It's also supposed to be a little reflective and hopefully helps you connect with how you're feeling at this point of time in your life. So take it with the spirit of fun. Don't get very serious about them. And I do hope that these questions either help you kind of think or bring a smile on your face, or I hope you laugh. We can't see you laugh, but I hope some of the questions might make you a little laugh, and I hope you find them funny as well, because the session is meant to be a little light-hearted, and that's really our attempt as well. If we can laugh a little at our lives and how we look at our world, it's always fun. Yeah, so are we ready to start the poll? So I think it should be very simple. These are very, very simple questions. Most of the questions are like in this moment. So you have usually two options. We are not giving more than two options. Just make a choice. Yeah, and I'll run you through these questions as we go along, and let's see how we feel after we answer all these 10 questions. Yeah, it's like I said, these are not going to be recorded. They are not reflective of your professional caliber or how good you are at any specific thing. These are very non-judgmental questions, so feel safe. This will not go into your promotion appraisals or promotions, or this is not going to in any way rate you in any way. Yeah, so these are very self-reflective questions, so don't worry, have fun with them. So I'll request Shruti to launch the the poll.
Yeah, sure, Nandini. So for each question, I'll be giving a minute. So all the 10 questions I'll be running at a time. Like once the first question, I'll be giving 1 minute of time. Next comes the second question. So I'll be launching all the 10 questions. So
yeah, you can. I'll tell what the question is, and then you can launch it.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So the first question is, I know it's a lunchtime, and this question sounds a little inappropriate for a lunchtime, but nevertheless, this is the question. So if you had to choose between tea and coffee at this point of time, at this very moment, if somebody had to offer you something, would it be a tea or a coffee? So that's really the first poll. Stay with me. It doesn't sound like a very important question, but trust me, sometimes these small things are more important in life. So we'll start off with this as we progress. So in this very moment, I would like to have tea or coffee. So what would be your option? That's
So yeah,
very,
that is
very
your
simple
poll.
question. And we hope all the 47 participants can answer this, because this doesn't take any, extraordinary effort to answer this question. So I really hope all 46 people can answer this question. It's very simple to start with. Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Yes, Nandini,
wow.
we
The
are
poll is
getting a quite
so
good
exciting.
response for
Okay.
this.
Okay. So we already have 58% tea and 42% coffee. It's like really a tight, fight going on between tea and coffee right now. It's 58% tea, 59% tea. Okay, tea lovers are like totally taking over this poll right now. Okay. Okay, I think now we can probably call it off. I think this is the final results. We have, oh my god, this is too cool. Okay, so we have like 61% tea lovers and 39. Okay, 60 and 40. That's what it looks like, because somebody changed their vote. Uh,
The
so
percentage of vote is increasing, Nandini. So that's the reason we have like around
oh,
95% of people who have voted. So yeah, as
voted.
you said, the
Wow.
maximum goes with tea.
Yes, so we have almost like 60-40, so almost 59% tea drinkers, 41% coffee drinkers at this moment. It can change. Of course, it can keep changing as we go along, but at this moment. But sorry, it's a webinar. We cannot provide you tea or coffee. So my apologies. So I know I'm asking a question which I can't, fulfill the delivery of. But I do hope that after this, you can have your lunch or catch up a tea or a coffee. Yeah. I hope I can keep you awake without tea and coffee. That's my objective. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. The next question is: I know it's a corona and we are not allowed to travel, or we are not really traveling. But if you could travel this very moment in your life, where would you like to travel? Would you like to go to a beach, or would you like to go to a mountain? That's your next question. So, if I could go for a holiday this very moment, I would like to choose to go to a mountain or the beach. So, really curious to see what others. Oh my God, that's like 100% mountain. Okay, we have got a couple of votes coming in. Okay, now it's building 67% mountain, 33% beach. Okay, it's really like it's numbers are going really like, they're changing every second. Okay, wow. Okay, there's almost 41% mountain, 58% beach. Clearly the beach lovers are seeming to, have a bigger say here. Very, very clearly there's beach is almost 57% beach, 43% mountain. Okay, that's awesome. I think another few more seconds and we can move to the next one. Okay, and here we can close this. So we almost have 58% people who would like to go to the beach and 42% people who would like to go to the mountain. Uh, Fantastic. So thank you so much. I can see everybody's participating. Like I said, these two are probably the most simplest answers or questions ever, but it's going to get more interesting as we go along. By the 10th question, you will be like, wow. Okay. So stay with me for this. The next question is the same question of mountain and beach, but we're changing it a little bit. If you had to choose your team, if you had to compare your team to something, what does your team feel like? Yeah, it's a little complex than the first two. First two are very simple. But if you had to choose your team as a metaphor, so is your team a mountain or is your team a beach? Yeah, what does your team feel like? A mountain, being with your team or the kind of work you guys do, does it feel like mountain or does it feel like beach? Okay. Okay, currently we have beach as people are voting. Okay, now it's really getting interesting because both mountain and beach are getting a lot of scores. Wow, it's going really fast. That's awesome. Thank you guys. I love the way you guys are participating. Though I'm not able to see you or hear you, but just with the way you guys are interacting, I feel so active right now. Thank you so much for this. Okay, and we have another 8 seconds more, but I think result seems to be very clear. People have voted like this. They're like, "Tu, tu, 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 tu." Okay, so almost 60% people say their team is like a beach. I mean, like that's so cool. And then 40% people say their team feels like a mountain, and that's really interesting. And especially for this particular question, if you know through the session, if you can just put on chat, why do you feel your team is a beach or why do you feel your team is a mountain? I'll be very interested to know your answers for that. So feel free to put it in chat of why you think your team is a beach or your team is a mountain. So I'm very curious to know about that. Great. So while you keep typing and chatting and keep putting stuff, my next question is actually it's not on a poll, but uh, with a raise of hand, if I can know how many of you are testers or testing community or something associated with testing, if I can just have a raise of hand just to get a feel of it, because there are a few questions which are a bit more connected with that. But even if you're not in the community, I think they are very relatable. They're very simple and relatable. But just to get a feel of it, how many testers, if you can have raise of hands of testers? Okay, okay. Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for raise of hands. Okay, so since this was kind of created, so I have some of the questions for a bit of testing community, but I'm sure if you're in IT, you will relate to it. Even if you're not, as a user, you can relate to it. So in either of these three cases, I think it will still be very relatable. So the next question, this is kind of a bit more for testers, but you can interpret it. If you're not a tester, interpret it. What does it mean to you? And answer this question. Yeah. So the next question is finding bug. Yeah. Now a bug can be a very testing kind of a bug, or it can be just bug in life or bug in relationships or bug, the actual bug. It doesn't matter. So just tell me, finding bug is it just your profession or is it your hobby? Okay, we have already got vote for my hobby. Okay, right now it's going well. Both of them seems to have enough. Wow, it's 50-50 right now. There's 67, 35, 68, 32, 59, 48, 3. Oh my God, this is super close. Okay, this is so good to know. We have another 8 more seconds to go. 60, 40, 61, 39. Okay. Okay, okay, maybe somewhere here we can pause. So the results look like something like almost 61% people say that it's my profession, and around 39%, around 40% people say that it's my, yeah, 39% people say it's my hobby. So great, thank you so much for that. That's very, very interesting to know. And I'll move on to the next question, which again is slightly related to your, not to testing, but to you as a person. And it's slightly abstract, okay? But I'm sure with the way you guys are participating, this shouldn't be difficult at all for you. The next question is, in this moment of my life, I feel like I'm a teacup. Yeah, I'm a teacup, or am I a teapot? Yeah, so you have to choose between one. In this moment of your life, and that could mean in your professional setting, personal setting, or this phase of your life, or right in this moment, do you feel like a teacup or teapot? Yes, and this is slightly abstract, or it requires a little more thinking, or probably a little different thinking than the other questions because they were easy. But this requires a little more thought. or a little bit of reflection? Okay, we already have a lot of responses. That's fantastic. They're almost going very equal. 58% teacup, 42% says teapot. We still have another 7-8 seconds to go. Okay, and I think that's where we are. Okay, fantastic. So we have almost 59% of people who feel like teacup and 41% of people who say teapot. That's really interesting to look at and reflect. Again, this is something I would like if you can put on chat and say why teapot or why teacup, and what is your logic around that, or what was the inspiration to choose teacup or teapot. So if you can put that on chat, it'll be a very interesting to hear from all of you. So that's something, if you can just, so one is the team one. I would love to hear from all of you on chat. Why you chose that your team is a beach or mountain. That is something I would love to hear from you in the chat. And this is the next one. Why did you choose a teacup or a teapot? That's on the chat. Great. So the next question is again going back to testing. Again, a bit you have to make sense for yourself, because the question is kind of open. But what does it mean to you? So just take it with that context. The next question is, I find bugs and errors everywhere around me. Okay, so these bugs again can be software bugs or generally issues in life, or I just see, this is really bizarre, I see only flying living bugs. I really don't see bugs in my real life. We already have vote for I see only flying living bugs. Okay, that's fantastic. I know it's slightly difficult that, okay, now it's slowly lot of votes are coming in. Shruti, I'm just curious, what's your response to this?
Okay, I would go with the first one.
You see bugs everywhere around you.
Exactly.
And does that make your life easier or difficult?
It's actually more difficult.
Yeah, that's okay.
Even here, we feel like it's almost like 50-50.
Yes, it's absolutely 50-50. You're right. Even our results are like that. They're like exactly 50-50.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there are 50% people who feel that bugs and errors are around me, everywhere around me. And there are some who feel like, no, I just see them as living beings and nothing more. Yeah, so that's really interesting. Yeah, now I think it's changed to 52 and 48, but yeah, that's cool. Okay, so Shruti, you have almost 50% of the people who feel like you, and 50% who don't. Just this is a good insight to go with. Great, thank you so much, guys. We're just going into last few questions, and it's going to be different than the first few, of course. But let's see how this goes. Yeah, we did the teapot and teacup. This question is kind of taking one level further from that question. And this one is basically, in this phase of my life, do I feel like a photograph or do I feel like a photo frame? So do I feel I'm a photograph or am I a photo frame? And you can start your thinking and reflections and votings. And the best part about these questions is neither of them are right or wrong. And I think that is so liberating, that we don't have to get right answer, or we don't even have to get a popular answer, but we can just only kind of reflect on how we are feeling in the moment and put that. Okay, wow. So almost already we have around 60 plus number of people who feel their photograph, and a good strong 38-40% people who are saying photo frame. Okay, we still have around 15 20 seconds left. Almost 71% people have voted. Wow. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate your active participation.
But
Awesome.
this
Okay.
question is little, I mean, you will have to think more before you answer this question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We'll take a few more seconds. No problem at all. Yeah. I mean, we do have some time with us, so no problem at all. We don't have to answer this in a hurry. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Because I do
true.
hope you can go back with this ideas and thoughts. Awesome. Okay, so here are the results. We have 65% people who feel they are photographs and 35% of the people who feel they're the photo frame. Very interesting. And of course, if we ever get to, have a longer conversation, it'll be interesting to know why the 65% people felt they are the photographs. And yeah, and what does it mean? Because for every single person, these questions could mean completely different things, and that's the beauty of these questions because they are so open and relatable, and we can make them our own. It doesn't have to be we can make it up and have answers. Awesome. Okay, so the next one is really how you look at life. So bugs are part of life or they need to be fixed. So here it goes for you. So bugs are part of life, need to be fixed. Okay, we have at the moment we have 50-50. It's going really fast now as people are voting in. We have almost 70% people who have already voted. And it's really close. Both the answers are they're getting very equal answers. It's almost going like 55-45. Wow, this is exciting. Okay, we have almost 92% people who have already voted. Take a few more seconds, no problem. I don't think we are in a rush. These are very interesting questions which could probably. Yes, and we have the poll which has been closed. We have almost 92% people who have voted. Out of that, 53% people feel that bugs are part of life, and 47% of people feel need to be fixed. So it's almost again very close. Shruti, what was your answer?
It's a part of life.
It's a part of
Not
life.
every bug
Okay.
can be fixed.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Shruti, I'm putting you on a hot seat because you're the only one
No, no,
I'm
no
right now getting
problem,
to
no
see. So I'm
problem.
just putting you on a hot seat without. Yeah, great. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. This is very interesting. And it's so interesting that almost 50% people feel, exactly differently. And it's amazing that these are the people we work with on a day-to-day basis, but we have very different views about world and life and about a specific thing like a bug. And it's interesting that how diverse we look at the world and view it, but how we can still work together and find that common grounds or sometimes not, and have different opinion and be okay with that. That's very interesting. So yeah, this is again I know I'm like really bugged with bugging questions because I'm like right now really high on the questions on bugs. So the next question is also on bugs. So and I know it's a little strange, but just take it. And this is anonymous, and nobody will really see who voted for what. But it's interesting. So it's a little tricky one. Okay, I'll give you a warning. It's a little tricky one, but I assure you the replies are not recorded. So feel free to put it out. Uh, I see bugs to be fixed in my personal relationships, in my professional relationships. Okay, and take a little more time on this. It's a tricky one. I can make- There's no specific into the intention of what it means, what the bug means. Really your interpretation of what the bug means to you, and then take this question straight. Wow. This is going really well. Really well. Really so that a lot of people are so active, especially at lunchtime. Okay, we already have 70% voted. We have another 15-20 seconds more. Okay. Great. So here are the almost close to 80% have voted, and 43% people feel that I need to fix a bug in my personal relationships, and we have 58% people who feel that I need to fix a bug in my professional relationships. So thank you so much for being honest and taking this question. I know it's a very daring question in some sense, but and I know nobody else is going to see your reply except your own self, but it's really nice to take it up once in a while and challenge ourselves. This is literally testing waters, just testing waters a little bit for ourselves. So thank you so much for being so amazingly, I would say, sport and participating in these difficult questions. So thank you so much for that. The next one is really not tricky. It's going to be a funny one, and I hope you enjoy this question. So when I use random applications and I find bugs in them, I feel like, okay, and you can read it for yourself. So I'll let the question be launched. So when I use random somebody else's application or using some other bank, something else, some other application, and I find a bug in it, and I feel like killing the developer or murdering the tester. It's really funny, so we're not going to do either of that on records. This session is not encouraging you to do either of that. Disclaimer. I can see Shruti laughing. I hope all of you are also finding it equally funny too. And you're laughing along with Shruti as well. So.
Yes, Nandini, the question is so.
No, because I was like really thinking as a mind of a tester, if I'm a tester and if I use somebody else's application and I exactly know what's all going wrong. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to ask this. Plus, I have a lot of friends who are developers and testers, and I'm usually between them when they're fighting. So I feel like, okay, I don't know. I think, being a middle person in middle of this, intense fight or discussion which goes on between designers, developers, and testers, I find myself in a very interesting position. So this is very inspired by all those experiences, this question. So okay, great. And here we have almost 80% people have voted, and we have got like 38% people want to kill the developer, and then 62 people want to murder the tester. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry for testers, but I think that also shows how important your jobs are and how critical the work you do is for the users. So I think that's a compliment. I think that's a compliment. Do you agree, Shruti?
So yeah, we have a question there, Nandini.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, a couple of people have answered. So
okay.
Mountain compassed obstacle, but beach presents to freedom.
Oh wow, that's a very nice interpretation. Very nice interpretation.
Yeah. Dev people we enjoy while working as how we enjoy in beach. Whatever mountain work comes, we really solidify it.
Wow, that's fantastic, and all for everyone who is part of the team. I think wow, that sounds like pretty exciting. That's really interesting answer. Thank you so much for that.
And the same person states that right now felt a bit empty in life.
Okay, we don't know what was the question, but yeah, was I think
So
it
they
was for the
chose the
teapot.
teacup, not the teapot.
Teacup.
So that's the reason they chose the teacup.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so chose the teacup. Feel
Yeah.
okay.
One
Thank
more
you so
answer
much.
for the beach and the mountain. Team is a beach.
Mm-hmm.
It's unpredictable at times, high tide, low tide, and at times it's very calm.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Anjana, for that response.
Yeah.
So
One
beautifully,
more.
crafted.
Yeah, for teacup and teapot. Teacup, I'm at the given end, mentioning, advising, mentoring,
Hmm.
advising, trying not to pour a lot into the teacup.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well articulated, Anjana. Thank you so much for that.
For third question, I think Madhav has stated, instead of one or two, it should have been both of the above.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Mother,
Regarding
for
the
that.
question, regarding, killing a developer or murdering a tester, we have one more answer. It's neither but killing the manager who made informed decision of deploying the app.
Thanks a lot, Malti, for that. Thanks a lot for that. Thanks a lot
One
for that.
more regarding the beach. Sometimes I feel alone in beach. Sometimes it's crowded.
Yes, yes. The funny thing is, we go to the beach and then we try to find an empty spot in the beach, and it's always the irony of life. That's so true, Hariharan. Thank you so much for that. Wow, thank you so much, everyone, for all the responses and and this interaction. This is really exciting. And I think with this we almost have kind of completed our poll questions. Um, I have one more. I have like one question which is again very specific to the community of testers, developers, and designers. This, if you can just put it on chat, it'll be very interesting to kind of listen to your perspectives. So if we couldn't put this in a poll because we don't have a straight answer for that, because there could be many answers, many different answers for this question. So this is the last one, and then we'll just go into a little bit of a few ideas and thoughts, which probably we can take back today. This is a question which you can put reply on chat, and it basically says, uh, if I'm a tester, this is what I would like to say to a designer or a developer. Yeah, if I'm a tester, these are the things. This is at least one thing. We don't need to have. I'm sure you have lots of stuff to tell each other, but if you can just choose one thing you would like to tell them at this point of time. So that is, if you are a tester, what would you like to, tell designers and developers in this very moment? And if you are a developer or a designer, what would you like to tell the testers at this point of time? So I hope we can hear from both the sides. And if you're a user, because there would be some people who are neither developer, designer, or testers. So what would you like to tell anybody? What would you like to tell people who create softwares? What would, as a user, do you have something to tell them? So it's just an open kind of typing answer. And it's, again, like I said, it's take it with a stride. There's no, I'm sure there's a lot of conversation you would like to have, but one thing you would like to say, it'll be interesting to hear from all of you. So that's
The
really what
question is
I would
available
like
on
to
the
say.
chat as well. You can just go through with the question. Meanwhile, Nandini, we have one more response. I chose
Yeah.
teapot because it is so
Mhm.
much. It so much relates to my responsibilities,
Mm.
multitasking at the moment, managing the household work, taking care of my pets. So that's what they state. And bugs are part
Wow.
of life, need to be fixed. Should have been both. Instead of one,
Yes.
they think it should have been both. So I chose coffee and beach. Beach looks like infinity, very calm.
Mm. Wow. Thank you so much, Smita, for these responses. And yeah, I think it's interesting because for me it's a great occasion to work with community of tester. So yeah, I think I'll take that feedback. I think Madhav also gave that feedback about bugs are part of life and they need to be fixed. And like Shruti said, some cannot be fixed. But it's interesting. Like I said, these are not probably I don't we don't have answers immediately, but it's interesting that these questions could, like, stay with us over weeks and months and maybe years, and we might find answers at some point of time. And suddenly something might just come up and say, oh yes, of course, yeah, that's my bug, or this is the bug I fixed in within me. And that could be an interesting moment for us.
Yeah, so
Great.
for the question what we asked, if I was a tester, I would like to say this to designers and developers. We have one answer here. I'm a tester and I would like the devs to have an awareness of the domain and business rules when they write the logic.
Yeah. Thank you, Malti. Thank you so much for that response. I think that's a really a conversation we must have. And I think what you have said is very interesting, because both are such hand in hand. They need to go in hand, and it's, yeah. Thank you so much for that response. We have one more. We have Chandan's response.
No hard feelings, please.
Yeah, I can imagine. When we put a lot of time and effort, somebody comes and says, oh. Yeah, absolutely. Right, but these are really. I like the way you guys are able to, bring it in such easy words. Something very deep and important, and actually probably a difficult conversation otherwise. But I really like the way you guys are able to express it and articulate it with such ease. So thank you so much for that, Chandan.
Yeah. One more reply we have. Anjana is stating that she was not a tester, but her question is, have you put yourself in the customer's shoes?
Yeah, absolutely. So I assume Anjana is asking this to testers?
No, designer, and I mean, in that sense, everyone, irrespective of it is a developer or a designer or a tester, until and unless they are, using it as a customer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And Anjana, I think you have really brought up one of the topics which I wanted to touch upon today. Is actually, I come from I'm from theater. I mean, I teach theater. I run a theater group. Of course, equally, I've had almost 18, 19 years of corporate experience, and I've worked with multiple organizations in multiple sectors, and now I work as an independent consultant. And I think one of the interesting thing is how we talk about how some of these ideas of theater can be used in hardcore technology concepts, or sometimes, especially in designing it, it immediately, has a lot of connection of how do you think, how do you stay curious, how do you how do you come up with ideas. But I think one of the important takeaways, and that's a discussion I was having with some of my tester friends, is while you're testing or when you're designing, could you really put yourself in the shoe of the customer? And when if you are able to kind of see how let's say a senior citizen would use a banking app, or when a child is trying to use something, with how does the privacy setting work differently for a child versus for an adult, and similarly, if there is and personally from I work a lot with diversity and inclusion, and I always wonder that are we thinking enough that how a person with some special abilities are able to interact with all our softwares which we are creating, or even the products which we are creating. For example, most of our products which are there around us right now are all created for right-handers. There's including your mouse and the way the door opens, to the way you hold a cup. Almost, if you look around, you'll realize that all the products around us are actually created for right-handers, and left-handers actually struggle. So if you're a left-hander, you would know that, or if you know someone who's a left-hander, just ask them how the world is for them. We probably, if I'm a right-hander, I don't think about it, but only when I sit down with a left-hander, I think, oh, it's actually not fair for them. Like everything is created for right-handers. Similarly, we have so many biases when we are creating, designing, developing, or even testing, and these biases just kind of overseed all our understanding. So I think this idea of, can we put ourselves in the shoe of the user, and have these different scenarios coming up could definitely be a very interesting perspective. Of course, I do also understand that it's a high pressure job, and there are so many things to be tested, and it's almost like you said, infinite beach of what all you would test. So prioritizing what has to be tested is also very important, is what I got to know, and it's a difficult priority to make. But yes, some monkey testing once in a while could also keep your gray cells moving, and it can also bring in some creativity and imagination to an afternoon boring work maybe. So yeah, maybe using a little bit of characters, using theater skills to say, okay, what if I'm this person, and then designing, or of course the concept of design thinking comes from the idea of putting yourself from the shoe of a user. So thanks so much, Anjana, because you brought it up. I was anyway planning to talk about it a little later, but I think your response has really triggered that conversation. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for that response, Anjana. Really appreciate that. We have
We have a couple of
minutes
other
also.
responses as well, Nandini. So
Go ahead.
Divakar states, aren't we all same boat?
Yeah.
Here we
Absolutely.
have one
I'm
more
very interested
response.
to hear, Divakar, I'm really interested to hear from others who are I think that's so true. That's so true. That's absolutely very
Okay.
true. Go ahead,
Yeah, one
Shruti.
more
Sorry.
response. What we have it is like 2 plus for a developer. The statement is like,
Mhm.
the question is 2 plus 2 can never be 3. And for designers, they can never be gods.
Whoa, okay.
And
That's very
personally,
interesting.
I got one, answer on my Slack that, for a
Uh-huh.
developer, asking them to accept the bug first.
The ability to, yeah, absolutely, very interesting. I think there are a couple of more responses, so you can go ahead with the responses, Shruti.
Yeah. Okay. So without bugs, testers don't have work in professional life. Fun without bugs, personal life won't be stronger even in any relationship.
Absolutely. That's so well said. So well said. That's so true. I'm gonna like take this and like make my quote. I'll just use this as a quote for the day or something like that. That's so deep actually. That's very deep and very very. Thanks so much, Hariharan, for sharing that. Without bugs, testers don't have work in professional life, and without bugs, personal life won't be stronger even in a relationship. That's so true. That's so true. So we have to thank Bugsy. Like, thank you. We have jobs, and thanks for. That's a great way of looking at life. So thank you so much for that, Hariharan. And Anjana says you're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anjana. Thanks a lot. So I think this has been really interesting interaction. Just few set of questions, and it has opened up such diverse discussion. So of course, we don't have too much of time with each other, but there are a few interesting thoughts which I had, from all the research I was doing, and the discussions I've been having. And I was just thinking about, so just there are a few ideas which I want to leave you guys with. So one is, of course, I want you to imagine that you have got a latest mobile, latest smartphone, and you just take it up, and it opens up and it says, okay, maybe, it gets started, and it works. And we are like, fine with it. We're like, okay, it works. And within a very short time, of course, the first thing it wants to do is connect with internet, and the software has to be updated, or it'll say that it's going to update a software, or the version of software, or the latest update. And we are like, yeah, that's fine. That's how it works. Yeah. Let's say you buy a car, not a Tesla, but you're just going to buy a normal car. Uh, you buy a car, and then you get into the car, and the car says, hey, I need to connect with the internet because I need to update the latest version of security. Your car doesn't have airbags right now, but in the next version, we will install airbags. Also, this version doesn't have brakes, but next version will definitely have brakes. Yeah, will the next version will definitely include brakes, uh, and so on and so forth. uh, I'm not sure if we'll be okay with that. I'm not sure we will be comfortable with that idea, because I think somewhere in our collective imagination, we have an acceptance that a software is okay not being okay. It's okay that it's not complete, because we have going to have updates and versions, and we'll keep fixing stuff. So it's amazing that as humankind, we have, when it comes to software, we have very different treatment, but we won't have the same treatment for our hardware products which we use in our lives. Whether it's a car, whether it's a dishwasher, whether it's a washing machine, whether it is any other products, we won't be okay if the manufacturer said that, hey, you know what, just take it. It's a box right now, but in the next version it will start rotating, and the next version it will actually clean your clothes. We won't be okay with that. But it's amazing that how software industry has been able to do this, that they actually give us products which are really not completely ready or completely bug free, or they actually have mistakes, and we know them and we still use them, and we are okay with the updates which keeps happening, and the bugs which can be fixed in the next version. But it's also interesting to see this kind of uh, this kind of makes me think that uh, also it means we have a high dependency on the software, and especially when it comes to, let's say, things like healthcare, whether it comes to very critical whether it's healthcare or something like your finance, and so many more critical areas where we are using it today. And do we really think about it, the responsibility we carry? Because uh, I guess somewhere as we go along, it becomes so technical, and we are working with the technical environment. We are working with numbers and codes, and the whole experience of it is so technical that uh, is it possible that somewhere we miss out on what is whom is it impacting, how is it impacting, uh, are their lives at stakes? Do we miss out on that perspective sometime? So that was an interesting thought which I thought I could like kind of leave you guys with, because um, you are the people, you guys create the world around us today. So it's amazing what you guys do, and especially with how the testing has progressed over time, uh, from something which has to be done to it must be done, and to extent that I think that's where the starting point today is. If you're looking at, COVID vaccination got done, but really the testing was so much more important. And today, even a layman who is just walking on the road is talking about, was it tested? Can I take it? So I think I think it's a huge compliment to the community of testers today, that many years back probably we were not aware of what really it does, but today even a layman on the road is going to ask that question, that is it being tested? So I think that really brings the work you guys do an absolutely forefront, and it's amazing that it is happening, and it's a really great thing to do. And of course, finally, my last question was, last thought for the day was, of course, about, we discussed a lot about, uh, the mind of a tester, and then, the other question which comes along with that is, uh, we're testing waters, and it in some way probably also reflects on our ability to take risks. Um, or test waters to take risk, or how much of water do we need to test before we take that risk? So as a professional, also in our personal lives, have we got comfortable with just sitting and just testing once in a while and not really making the jump? And I was just really interested to know what how does it impact our risk taking abilities? So few thoughts, few questions. It's okay if you don't reply them on the chat or on the poll, but these are a few questions which I wanted to leave you guys with. Is when is the last time you took a risk? When is the last time you had butterflies in your stomach? Uh, because in theater, every time you go on stage, public speaking is considered as almost the second biggest fear in the world, more than many other fears. Public speaking is really the first top three fears people have. right? And before you're going out to do a public speaking, there's a huge amount of butterflies going inside your tummy. You are about to feel like your knees are going weak and there's butterflies in your stomach. When is the last time you had that feeling? When were there butterfly? When did you experience last butterflies in your tummy? Because butterflies in tummy are directly they are the evidence of are we taking risk in life? Are we doing something different in life? Uh, and how much are we in our comfort zones? And when is the last time you knew that you are in a comfort zone? When is the last time you realized that you have been in your comfort zone for too long? When is the last time you thought you should break your comfort zones? When is the last time you actually felt that I need to take a risk? And these are a few thoughts. So if you haven't experienced butterflies in last few months or years, do check it out and see if you can do something which you can experience those butterflies again, because that experience is what keeps us alive and going. I have one last question for all of you, and please put this in chat. It should be a simple question. Who are the best testers? So especially for all the people who are testers and who are not, uh, who are the best testers in the world? If if you can just put it on chat for me. um, it's a simple question, whatever comes to your mind, first thing on your mind. If you can just put, who are the best testers? This is almost like my ending question. This is the last question I'm going to go with. Okay, thanks a lot, Malti. I'm reading your response. Interestingly, stage performances come naturally for me, but public speaking freaks me out. That's so interesting, Malti. That's very, very interesting. Because stage probably is a bigger comfort zone than just making a rehearsed speech, probably. Okay, so best testers are moms. That's awesome. That's really a nice, really, really a smart reply. Yeah, moms are really good testers. Okay, that's really interesting. So I'm just very curious what others. We have almost around 44 participants. Who are the best testers in the world? This is the last question for the day, and I'm just waiting for a few more responses. Who are the best testers in the world? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I won't quiz you much, but I do want you to take this moment to look at either your childhood or if you have children around, just watch them, especially the toddlers and little just above that. I believe they're the best testers because they do not take anything for at the face value. They'll ensure that every single toy is broken into pieces before they know how it works. They'll take anything, like whether it's a nice wall, which the manufacturer claimed that it is erasable, paints can be erased. The children are going to test it to its limits to see if it really is like that. And it's amazing how a child can be so curious around of the world, and how the child goes around even before it can produce or create something. It actually is testing the world. It's testing the world with all its senses. It tests the world through uh, it puts everything in the mouth and checks how does it taste, and it actually is doing its testing right there. And it's testing through listening, it's testing through watching, through observing, and by being curious, by being non-stop curious. My dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, so this is my last thought as I leave you all here, is stay curious as a child, because probably we have a lot to take back from our own childhood by reconnecting with our childhood, and by watching other little ones who just are so not scared of taking risks. They are not testing waters, they're just doing things. um, it's only us as adults, we just start building these inhibitions, and we have to test the water so many times before we are going to make that jump. So with this thought, it's great to test waters, but it's also sometimes nice to just test water for a little while, but make that leap, make that leap of faith once in a while. Take a little risk, and be curious like a child and have those butterflies alive. So that's with these few thoughts, I'd like to hand over the session back to Shruti, and I would like to thank Madhav, Devakar, Shruti for having organized this session and supported me throughout last few weeks to ensure that this whole session goes on really well. I'm really honored to be here with all of you, and I would like to thank all the 45, 46 participants who joined us in the right in the afternoon lunchtime to be with us and for participating with so much of active enthusiasm. So with that, I'd like to hand over the session to Shruti. Thank you so much.
Nandini, before I conclude, there are a couple of answers as well. You asked who are the best testers. So we have an answer was God from one and life from the other. And we have one more interesting answer here, which states, my friends are the best testers in finding my mistakes.
Wow, that's such interesting answers. Very, very interesting answers. Thank you so much. I'm going to take all this. I'm going to take all these back with me as well. So, and there's some amazing, interesting quotes which have come up as well. So I'm going to take everything you guys have responded back with me. So I'm going back feeling more richer today. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nandini. It was really a great session. It was very interactive, like full on full. It was a great time in the session, and at times we got philosophical as well for some of the questions. And I was smiling all along the session, and I hope the audience were also doing the same. So it was really a fun. Thank you so much. We thank you on behalf of Women Who Test for this wonderful session. At last, you helped us. Being testers, to understand how important our work was, to think about it. And I really thank audience as well for making your time. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Nandini.
Thank you, Shruti, and thank you everyone. Please stay in touch and keep your butterflies alive.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.